Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video, and I'm just out here double checking that I am live where I would like to be on my Facebook page, which it looks like I am, so give me just 1 second to pull up the comments and make sure that I can see when you guys are joining. Hopefully a few of you will hop on and watch live, and if not, you're certainly welcome to watch the replay. So it looks like Patricia's here, so thanks for joining today, and hope that you're having a great day. So I'm going to show you something kind of fun, which I see there's a big glare on the screen for on both of these because there's both have shiny things on them. So today I'm going to show you how I made this little shaker card. It's one of the snow globe shaker cards, and I made a few mistakes on it. I will admit to that right away as I'm doing this. So this was my first go around, so I sort of learned a few things, and I'm going to pass on a few tips as we go along here, so hopefully you can get it to work out easily, much easier than I did, without making any mistakes on it. So this is the card we're going to be making today. I tried to keep it a little bit more simple, just because, again, holiday cards a lot of times you're wanting to make in multiples. So hey Nancy, I'm glad that you're here joining and that I actually used your favorite set today. So all right, so this is the Still Scenes stamp set that we'll be using today, and it's got obviously the snow globe images in it, and then the little house image that you can either color or just stamp it or whatever you want to do with it. And then there are a couple of good sentiments in here, and I absolutely love this font. So hey Nancy, thanks for joining. So to the other Nancy, I guess there are two Nancys in here today. And it is bundled together, and you get a 10% discount if you purchase these together during the holiday catalog time period. And it's got obviously I guess I have this turned upside down, the snow globe dies. So here's the one for the dome part, and then here is the bottom section of the die. And the dome and this bottom section coordinate with the stamp set, so you can cut these two images out if you want to stamp them first. And then this outlined image here actually coordinates with the little house image. So, but in addition to the items that are actually here that you can cut out, there are some additional pieces, the additional die cuts that you can do with it. This is like to make a little church scene, basically. There's a deer, and then the little polar bears that we're going to be playing with today, as well as a set of trees. So this is a nice little die set, definitely a fun stamp set. And like I said, it's kind of neat to make shaker cards and dome cards because they're pretty impressive, although they're pretty easy to put together. So I'm going to set those things aside for right now. And I do have a couple of exciting announcements. So we found out some new things today from Stampin' Up. First things first, they have a new product suite that is going to be available. And I'll hold it up a little closer, so hopefully you'll be able to see the pictures on it on the camera. Sorry, I know I shake when I do this, but this is the Christmas Time is Here product suite, and this will be available for customers to order starting on November 1st. It's available for demonstrators to order starting on October 1st. So I am pretty excited about this. It's absolutely beautiful. Fantastic set. So, Nancy is asking, do you need to use a special envelope for the shaker cards? Yes, you will, because it's pretty thick. Hopefully you can see it in here. So yep, you'll definitely need to get a bubble envelope if you're going to mail it. If you're going to hand deliver the card, I think you could get it. I actually haven't even tried. I should have. One of the standard envelopes, I think you could get it in there. It probably would be pulled pretty tight. And you may not be able to lick it shut. You could probably do some washi tape or something to adhere it. So if you're going to hand deliver it, it is fine. But if you're going to mail it, you'll definitely want a bubble envelope to put over the top of it. All right, so back to the product suite. So this is the full product suite. And again, they're doing that as a big bundle that you can get for $112.50. And it has got designer series paper that has got gold foiling in it, or gold accents. I guess I'm not sure if it's foiling because we haven't seen it in person yet. But I do know that it has gold accents on it. There's some beautiful gold ribbon. There are gold glitter enamel dots, which I am so excited about. I love glitter enamel dots, and the gold ones look stunning. Can't wait to see that. There's a bracelet in here, which I'll try to show you a picture of that a little bit better, that coordinates with the whole suite. It's got a Stampin' Up logo as well as a pretty rose on it. There's the stamp set over here, which I'll show you a little bigger in just a minute. It's two stamp case set. This image, the larger one, is, I'll talk about that in a second. So when I flip it over, you'll be able to see it better. There are some dies with it. So again, this is just the stamp set. This is going to be available as a whole product suite for one price. And then you can also get the pieces individually. So this is just the bundle for the stamp set and dies, which is going to be $61. And you get the 10% discount if you order it as the bundle. And then on the back side, you can order just individually the stamp set if you want it. And it is beautiful, so you're definitely going to want it. At least I think it is. So it's $38 just for the stamp set. And they've done something a little different with it. They actually have, this image is red rubber, so you'll get the nice clean image with that. And then all of these images are photopolymer, so you can actually stamp them right over the top of the original image and see through it for stamping, which is awesome. So that'll be a really nice, something a little different. So you'll get a little mix of the types of stamps in this same stamp set. Now the images on here are actually, I don't know if you can see that, they're shown at 80%, so they are actually going to be bigger than what they appear here on the paper. Just wanted you to know that. So like here's a comparison between the sentiment as they show it up here, so you can see the whole image, and then this is the size that it actually is. So all right, so here's a little quick peek at the Charming Rose bracelet, which is, again, it's part of the full suite if you want that, or you can order it individually as well. And then here's the Christmas Time is Here Specialty Designer Series paper, which again is beautiful. Here's the die set that you can order individually or as part of the bundle. And then the gold glitter enamel dots, which again, I'm very excited about those. And the gold shimmer ribbon, which should be really pretty too. So again, this is going to be available for customers to order starting on November 1st, and demonstrators can get their hands on it starting on October 1st. And as you'll see up here on the little green circle, it is while supplies last. So if it is something you're wanting, I would definitely order it early, or better yet, join as a demonstrator now, and then you can get your hands on it on October 1st. So that's a nice little bonus for demonstrators. We get to pre-order it ahead of time. So let me know if you have questions on that, and I'll be posting more details as things become available and as we get a little bit closer, and once I get it in my hands and start playing with it. The second big update, don't get too excited yet as I lay it down, but we got a little bit of an update on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. They have a new product, new paper trimmer that they have been working on for quite a while. As we know, our last one had some issues with the blades and that sort of thing, not being able to produce those as quickly as they were needed. So they went with a new manufacturer and have redone the trimmer. And it looks to be an awesome tool. Demonstrators can order it beginning on October 1st. They have not given us a date for customer ordering. It sort of will depend on the supply left over after demonstrators get their orders put in. So yay, I'm excited. We have a new trimmer. The price point is actually less expensive than our previous trimmer, which is kind of rare in general. So that's nice. The trimmer is actually going to be $25. And then they are going to sell the replacement blades in 4 packs for $12. So again, I have not actually got my hands on the trimmer. I've seen it, saw the prototype, and saw a quick little couple second video that they did with it. This is actually a swing arm that comes out and will take the trimmer out to 17 inches in length. This is a nice wide opening that at least a 12-inch piece of paper will easily slide through there, so you'll be able to cut 12 by 12 designer paper without any problem with it, and regular 12 by 12 cardstock. There is a scoring tool and a cutting tool. At this point, looking at it, I'm not entirely sure which one is which. I think that this one's the scoring and that one is the cutting, but again, I may be totally wrong because I don't have my hands on it yet. So anyway, it may be the other way around, but we'll find out as soon as we get it. So again, this is available for customers to order soon. We don't have a date, but demonstrators can start ordering it on October 1st. So again, if you are interested in joining and want to get your hands on that trimmer early, join, and then you get to order it in October, which is awesome. So last thing, just a quick reminder that the Designer Series paper sale, buy 3 get 1 free, is going on right now, and it's from the select list of Designer Series paper on this sheet, and it's going on through the end of September. So this is current, going on now. You can buy 3 and mix and match however you might like, to buy 3 and get 1 free. So let me know if you have questions on that. There are more details posted on my blog, so if you do have questions, just drop me a note. All right, so first things first, on my card, I'll show off a couple of the boo-boos right away. So I don't know how well you can see it on here, but the background on this is embossed, and I got the great idea to emboss it and then stamp on the top of it and try to heat emboss it. And well, because I had not used my Stamparatus initially, I did not get a real great image, but everything was basically all done and cut and ready to go. And actually I did it all kinds of backwards. I had everything in the shaker dome and everything was basically done, and then I decided I was going to stamp the sentiment on it, so it was too late to fix it once I realized that I didn't get a great image. So to make up for that, and my tip to you is, when you are going to do such a project, get your Stamparatus out, because it's a very handy tool for that type of thing. So what I've done is I went ahead and pre-cut. This is Night of Navy cardstock. It's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch, and I will have all the details in cardstock cuts out on my blog tomorrow, so don't worry about that. And I just basically, I didn't really precisely measure. I did get out a ruler and try to get it as close as I could to even, but I know if you went down to the, millimeter or whatever, this is not going to be even exactly. I just sort of eyeballed it and ran it through my die cutting machine. And then obviously got the hole cut with the snow globe die, the snow globe scenes die. And then I ran it back through with the subtle embossing folder, which again, I know that it's kind of hard to see it. Hopefully you can catch a glimpse that it is embossed with that subtle embossing folder. So again, if you are going to do such a thing, just make sure that you don't do what I did and use your Stamparatus, and then you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to use some Versamark ink because we are going to be embossing this with copper Stampin' Emboss powder. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up, hopefully well, with my Versamark ink. And we're actually going to do this a couple of times just to make sure that I get good coverage on it, because I don't want it to look like my last one did, where only half of it stamped, so, which is not really ideal. All right, so I think hopefully we got a good solid stamp on that, which looks like we did. So I'm going to set that aside and pull out my copper embossing powder and a little spoon here. Sprinkle it on here and hopefully get it covered really well this time, which, yep, that looks a lot better than my original one did already. So like I said, lesson learned. I will use my Stamparatus when I do this in the future. So I'm getting ready to turn on the heat tool. It's going to make a bunch of noise for just a second. So thank you all for joining me a little bit late today, and I apologize. We had the meeting at my daughter's school this morning, so I had to run over there and do that before I could come back and do a little stamping video. So, and I actually kind of like this a little bit later in the day. I'm thinking that maybe I might switch to this time. I don't know. You guys have to let me know if you like it a little bit later, a little bit early, or what time is best for you all. But I kind of like getting through lunch and being able to come join you a little bit later in the day. So we'll see. Let me know what you want to do on it. All right, so that is just the heat embossing that I did there with copper embossing powder. And I'm going to set that aside for 1 second while I put the background scene together. So I went ahead and pre-cut everything here. This is the Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper, which has got the copper foiling in it, and I've cut it to a 3x3 piece of paper. And then I pre-cut just from Whisper White cardstock the little bear images from my Snow Globe Scenes dies. So just the two little bears. And then I'm going to grab one of these Snow Globe shaker domes, which these come in a little box. It's a little bigger than the size of the Glue Dot box, but very similar to that. And they come packed in a little plastic bag, which is nice. So they're pretty well protected. Mine came, even though the box was a little smooshed up, the domes themselves came through just fine. What's a little different about these domes than the ones that I've used in the past is these are actually sticky on both sides, which some that I've had in the past have not been, and they're not quite as easy to work with. These make it really easy to do the shaker cards with them. So the way that I found to be the easiest to do this, to sort of figure out where you want things, is just place your little snow globe over the top. And then make sure your bears are obviously inside it, and you don't want them all the way down to the bottom because you're going to put the little the glitter inside there to make it look like snow, so you don't want your bears completely covered up in glitter. The next thing that I learned when I was doing this is when you're going to glue your bears down, if you have any glue incidents, like my little bear, I had a little bit of extra glue on him. Be sure that you wipe it off very well and that it is very, very dry. Otherwise, you will have a little polar bear who is now covered in snow as well. Not that it looks horrible, but just not quite the look I was going for, to have glitter stuck on him permanently. So that is my next tip to you, is that as you're putting your scene together, if you're planning to use the glitter on it, just be sure that it's whatever you're gluing down, you either don't do what I did and don't put too much glue on it and have it squished out everywhere, or if you do have a little glue accident, just be sure that you let it dry completely and make sure it's, you just don't have any extra goobers on there, so that you don't end up with glitter stuck in a place that you don't necessarily want it stuck. So, all right, so there, I've got my two little bears glued down, just used a little bit of liquid glue with that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the ice Stampin' glitter and a little bit of a spoon. You can pour it, but I felt like I had a little more control when I used the spoon for it instead. So just opened it up, and you really don't need very much of this because again, you'll end up with your bears completely buried in snow if you put too much in. So it's, you know, it's not really, it's less than you think you'll need. I will tell you that. So at least that's what I found with shaker cards, is usually less is better on them. So I poured a little bit of that in the middle of it, tried to keep it away from the edges, and then picked the sticker back, whatever you want to call it, off the back, and then went back over here and tried to get it as straight as I could get it, and then adhered it down. So, ta-da! Now you've got your bears in the shaker, which is super easy. Like I said, I mean, it's, you know, they come together really quickly once you get the basic parts all cut out and everything done. So then we are going to go back. We're going to peel off the top of the sticker now, go back and get the piece that we just heat embossed and slide it right over the top of the globe. And again, because it's sticky on both sides, it makes it super, super simple to put it all together, and that's basically your shaker is done. So the next thing I did was I went ahead and pre-cut a couple of the little base pieces for the snow globe. I had a little trouble with the copper foil for whatever reason. I tried to use liquid glue on it. So again, another tip on your copper foil. I tried to use liquid glue on it, and I couldn't get, it was like the pieces didn't want to stick together and they were sliding all over, and I ended up with glue everywhere. I tried it a couple times and it was just sort of a disaster. So I switched and actually discovered that there are a couple places on here, which hopefully you can see it on here, that are a little bit wider right across the center. And I found that if I rolled up glue dots and stuck them on these little places here, that was definitely more than enough adhesive needed to hold the two pieces together. And then I didn't have the big gluey mess like I had when I was trying to use liquid glue on it. So again, for me, the glue dots worked really well, just rolled up on here. So that's one other little tip that I have for you, is that if you're going to use the foil, the copper foil in particular, I'm not sure why each foil is a little bit different on the backing, but the copper foil in particular seemed to be really slippery when I tried to put the two pieces together, and I just couldn't get it to stay with liquid glue. So I just went with the alternative glue dots and smashed them right down, and they stayed together just fine. So super simple. Again, you know, anything I can do to to help you to figure it. Oops, and actually we're going to use a little bit of snail on the back of here to adhere it to the card front, and just scoot it right up underneath the dome, and then go for centered on it and smash it down. And that's, you know, again, your card front's almost done. All we need to do is stick together. I used a little bit of copper foil sheets for the backing, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm actually going to apply the adhesive to the foil sheet. Since this is all lumpy already, I'd have a hard time getting it to go on the back of there very easily. So we're just going to use a little bit of snail put it on the foil sheet, and then come back here and adhere the two pieces together like that. All right, last piece is we've got a Night of Navy card base, and it's cut. This one is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. But you can do the book type opening with it as well if you prefer that style instead. And I used actually a little bit of snail again on the back of here to adhere it to the card front. I thought about doing dimensionals, but as Nancy mentioned earlier, this is already a fairly thick card with the dome in it, so I didn't want to make it any thicker by adding dimensionals to the back. Normally I don't do any cards without dimensionals, but this is actually one I didn't do dimensionals on. So we've got it adhered together. Last piece that I did was I added a couple of the star designer elements and just sort of randomly threw it across my page. So randomly stuck them around the card front. I don't know why my fingers just don't want to work right now. But that's okay. These are big enough. They can go flying. And then I can still find them back. So thank you, Jackie. I'm glad you like the card. And actually, this was my first card. Well, although I made a real simple one that didn't involve the actual dome part earlier in the week. But I wanted to do one with the shaker dome. So I was, it was fun to play with and fun to use. And anyhow, so that's the outside of the card. The inside, I did a little bit of stamping ahead of time. And stamped the sentiment in Night of Navy and the little snow across the top in Seaside Spray ink. I'm just going to use a little bit of snail to adhere it to the inside of the card. And all right. Yep, I see a couple other people are. Thank you guys. I'm glad you liked the card. Like I said, it's fairly simple and quick to put together once you kind of figure out a few of the little tricks that you need to make sure everything turns out well. So that is all for my card share today. So whoop, I got the snow all kinds of upside down and crazy looking on here. So you can see the two different ones that I put together. This one I did earlier and had my little goober with the sentiment, and then a little bit of glue mess with the bear. This one turned out a little better. I'm happier with the way he looks. So anyhow, so that is all for my card share today, and thank you very much for joining. Hey, Deborah, thanks for joining. I'm glad you liked my card, and I will plan to see you all next week, Tuesday. And again, let me know what you think of the 1 o'clock time, and hopefully you'll, like I said, I feel like this time, it's a nice time of the day for me, so hopefully this will work out all right for you guys too. So, all right, thanks so much for joining, and have a good rest of your Tuesday.